Hello, friends. I am Sarah Schweppe. I'm a co-creative relationship coach who supports therapists, coaches, and other healing professionals to create the life and the love that they most want. I support people who are feeling frustrated at home and work, and their lives aren't terrible, but they're just not really where they want them to be. You're finding yourself in conflict more often than not with your partner, and you're confused as to why things aren't working because you know what the problem is. You study it. You know how relationships work. You know what it means to be healthy, and yet you're still getting stuck. You're also a little scared and not wanting to share with other people what's really going on at home because you have all this training. You don't want to look like a fraud. And so you keep reading the books and maybe going to therapy and doing all the things, but because you're missing this one big piece that I'll get to here shortly, you're staying stuck. And so I'm here to support you with a bit of a paradigm shift and some work that has been nothing short of life-changing for me. Today, I'm going to talk about why you're so exhausted after your client sessions. And if you hold on till the end, I'm going to give you a powerful tool that you can take with you after today to begin to feel more energized. Know what it's like to feel really tired at the end of the day. Now, so on my training, my background was as a therapist in social work. I got my master's in social work. And after grad school, I ended up going into the healthcare field for quite some time. Then I got into health coaching. I really missed the one-on-one work. And I was like, I think on some level I knew that the mental health field could be really draining. And I had a lot of my own stuff going on throughout those years and just didn't know if I could offer clients the space and energy that I thought it required. So I started, but then I missed it. And so I started to creep back in, did the health coaching for a little while. And that was super fun working one-on-one, but I was still drained. I felt so exhausted after sessions. And what I didn't know was happening for me was that I was very intellectual. I was in my head. I was trying to stay ahead of the client, right? Trying to keep this perspective that I had to see what was going on and stay one step ahead, in a sense, is how I would describe it. It turns out that if I'm operating only from my neck up, I'm missing a very big piece of me, my whole body. I didn't know that I wasn't in my body for those sessions. I could feel anxious from time to time. I knew that I was feeling anxious, or if I was like frustrated, I knew that experience, but I didn't know how to actually be with it. So it was really humbling for me when I found body-centered work to learn that I was not in my body, especially because I was doing mind-body work. Going back to 2018, I was really into mindfulness. I was really into ego work. I was really into all the great teachers. Eckhart Tolle, I had found David Hawkins at the time, and I thought I was doing mind-body work. Turns out it wasn't. What I discovered with the work that I'm doing now as an evolutionary power practitioner is actual body work. It's somatic and energetic tools that support me to be in sessions with clients as I'm supporting them to move through their stuck places. So the difference now for me, like when I'm with a client, not all the time, of course, there are times that I go up into my head, but I catch those now for the most part, know how to drop back in, is that as I'm supporting them with very practical tools to go into their body, to move through the density of negative emotions, is that I'm in my body too. Like right now, actually, I'm looking at the camera and I'm noticing how I feel. I have sort of a sparky energy in my stomach. I feel excited. I feel a warmth and expansion around my heart. I love making these videos. I love talking about these ideas. And I'm in my body as I'm talking to you. That was actually a skill that I had to learn over time. I didn't know I was focused out here, what I would call out looping, my job, I was trained to pay attention to what's happening with the client, to notice what is happening with them, to notice their behaviors, to notice their sort of unconscious movements, to listen to what they're saying, to be thinking about what's the diagnosis, what's happening here. I was so in my head. I was missing all this other information because now my body's also giving me cues. In fact, I think it's giving me probably more accurate and way more fun cues when I'm working with a client, because now I can say, oh gosh, and I don't always do this, but when I do, it's complete magic. I notice I just had a little flutter in my stomach. I'm wondering if you're feeling scared or what's happening for you. Or maybe I just saw a picture of a ship come into my mind. Does that mean anything for you? And oftentimes it's on point. And I think what's happening is that I'm supporting myself and my body to be in flow, to have my feelings as they come up in the session, to move through that energy. And what I'm doing is tuning into my own creative brain, my essence, my soul connection that I think opens me up to this wisdom of information. It's like this information floating around and I have this direct access to it. And I don't think that's because I'm special. I think we all have access to it. It's just a matter of knowing how to tune in. The other really cool thing about knowing how to access my creative brain, and whether that's when I'm with a client or I'm talking with my partner or doing some other task, what's so cool about this is that it's like an instant battery recharge. Now, I know that, of course, there are times where our physiology is off. We just feel tired. We just need to eat. We need some rest. I'm not talking about those times where it's like best to go honor that, right? What these tools can do is support you to discern what's what. There have been many times where I am convinced that I'm so tired and I can't do this thing and I'm overwhelmed. Turns out that's a persona, which I'll get to at some point. But that when I go in presence with what is in my body, the fear, the anger, the sadness, whatever dense energy is stuck and not moving, and I clear it out, it's like the clouds have cleared. And I would say that's exactly what's happening, because my essence, where I feel energized, I know that I'm connected to source, that I am source energy. It's like my reactive brain, the dense emotions, those clouds clear, and there I am, the bright, shining essence of my being that is naturally energized. And so I wasn't operating from my essence when I was working with clients. I was operating from my coach persona or my social work persona, or like personally when I was like connecting with people that I loved who wanted my support, my helper persona. And those personas I love deeply. They have supported me for a really long time. They've done a lot of good. They helped me to be good at what I did on paper, but it didn't feel good. And so I didn't know that I was in a role. The difference now for me is I'm in my essence. I get to be with what is. I get to support the other person. And it's so fun because it's like we're on this journey together and I don't know what's going to happen. I know how to guide them and I know tools to offer them. But ultimately, I see myself as being in power with them. And that supporting them to discover their essence, for them to be in creative brain, for them to realize that they're the source, that they can choose to feel better by learning how to shift their state. This is the best thing. I wouldn't trade it for the world. It's the most fun I've ever had. And so I think that the reason why you feel exhausted is because you're not in your body. Or maybe you're not in your body. I don't know. You'll have to try it out and see. And maybe you're seeing a lot of clients, and I wonder if that's actually what you want to do. And I hear you saying, I have to pay the bills. But from a creative brain place where we're accessing what we really want, where we're in the space of possibility, where we're living in a higher vibration, a more energized place, there's a lot of possibilities up there that we may not see from reactive brain. The reactive brain that tells us there's not enough money and we have to work a certain way. And it's like, got all these years of conditioning that tells us life has to be a certain way. I don't know. I wonder if you were in your body, if you could connect with what you really wanted, what that might be. I wonder if you might be willing to entertain the possibility that you could have fun and actually feel good at the end of the day after seeing clients. So I know I promised you, if you hung around to the end of this video, I'd offer you a powerful tool. And I just want to offer you one little piece, one thing that you can start doing while you're in sessions. And that's just begin to pay attention to your sensations. Your attention, your sensations, this is a superpower. Like I said, right now, again, I'm tuning into my stomach. I still feel those excited butterflies. I also notice that I feel grounded. My feet are planted. Beginning to practice going inside, noticing what's happening. I wonder what happens right now. Do you want to try it out? Notice any sensation you might be experiencing in your body. right? Maybe it's a heaviness in your chest. Maybe you have tears in your eyes. Or maybe you have a headache. Maybe your shoulders are tight. Whatever sensation wants your attention the most, just take a minute and put all your attention there. And if it feels good, even directing your breath to that area and just noticing what happens. You might notice that the sensation gets a little bit smaller. You might notice that it gets a little bit bigger. Just letting whatever's happening be. Sticking with it, breathing. What you're doing right now is you're just riding the wave of energy, of emotion, right? Energy is emotion. Emotion is energy in motion. Just riding that wave. Turns out all this time that energy's been building up, we haven't been moving our emotions through our bodies. All we have to do is turn toward that sensation and notice it, let it peak, and move on through. These emotions, they come in waves. They just want to peak and express, move on through. There's more. There's a three-step process to doing this. I love, and I'd love to teach you. But for today, I think just becoming familiar with your sensations, knowing that it's super powerful to just begin to notice what's happening in your body, maybe even trying it out with clients, just noticing what you feel for as much as it feels good, for as long as it feels good. Knowing that is a superpower, just putting your attention on the places where energy is wanting you to notice. So I think that's all I want to say for today. It's been so great chatting with you. I hope that you'll stick around. I'm going to do another video here on personas, talking about what it means to be the helper, to be in a therapist persona. How do I know who I really am and where my therapist comes in? How do I feel better doing all of this? So stick around and subscribe this video. Let me know what your questions are. If you have any comments, I'd love to hear from you. I hope you have an awesome day.